Hello, welcome to my breakdown of Redish. Hello, welcome to my breakdown of Redish, a React Native demo application I made to show off how to approach a software application project. This application is specifically designed to record your favorite orders at different restaurants and be able to see your friends' orders or your partner's orders. So if you're picking up a surprise for them after work or something, you can have a list of all of their favorite restaurants and what kind of orders they like. So let's get into it. So I approached this project with a single lifetime development cycle SDLC planning process. So this was a way to make sure I was staying on track. I had a limited time and budget for this project, so I want to make sure I was really maximizing my value and productivity. So to start off with the planning phase, I made a software requirements specification. I listed out what I thought the product would be, sort of I had to imagine who would appreciate this kind of app. I thought like a young professional, short on time, just want to have everyone's orders saved. This also could include a family who just, if you have a lot of kids, it's a lot of orders to remember. And so this is the application that will be useful. I also outlined sort of some goals, mandatory features, and any security concerns. And that led me into my analysis phase where I mostly talked with my wife, bouncing ideas off her. Since it's a demo application, I did not do any proper interviewing processes. I do have a system for that I'd be happy to discuss sometime later. And then we go on to the design phase. So first I was just hand drawing out some screens, just to get an idea of a rough UI prototype. And once I felt like I had a sort of a fleshed out idea of how the app would look, I started diagramming a systems architecture. So sort of what are the main components, where do they live, because someone has to host these things. And I also made a database design as well, which we'll break down later. And then once I had a plan, I kind of knew where everything was supposed to be. I started development processing. So I was in VS Code, was writing React Native, Express.js, a little Mongo and Mongoose, and some authentication with Clerk. Then for testing, this is not a check mark. I did some personal verification. I did not have time so far to develop a proper unit testing suite, something I plan to go back and add on later once I have more time to improve this project. But I did do it, so it was a very manual verification process. And the security stuff, I'm still making sure I'm doing right, so that is still pending. Finally, I deployed the app, so that's a little screenshot of the application, and we'll break down the UI later on it, but it is deployed. You can log on, and I'll have the link so you can see the app live and make your own account. And for maintenance, this is an ongoing thing. We'll have to, I plan on maintaining it for as long as I can, but since it's limited budget, we'll keep your fingers crossed everything goes well. So let's break down system architecture. So the big concern for me on this were I had limited time and limited money. So we needed things to be pretty fast and pretty cheap. So Render is a service that I found. They do hosting for both static sites where the UI React Native is hosted and on Express.js. The React Native I'm using is built off Expo, which makes it really easy to deploy it on the web, which is important to me since making this demo easily shareable meant that a website was ideal versus having people need to download an app. Then for authentication, I've just learned that terrible logins can destroy an app, and so I worked with Clerk, which is another free service. It made it super easy and even allowed for Google tie-in. So I'm glad that this app has great easy login. And then my database backing in is a series of tables in MongoDB that just will store all the information needed for the users. So on to the database design. I love database management. I love third normal form. I know it can have performance trade-offs, but in this case, I expect in the order of tens to hundreds to at largest 1,000 entries. So performance is not a huge issue at that scale. And since this is a development prototype, a simple database is best. As this app scales, we may want to consider a different system. But right now, I really try to use as few tables as possible while not duplicating any information and causing desyncing issues. So we just simply have a user that has their IDs and their username. They can subscribe or unsubscribe to see their friends' orders. They have their own set of favorite orders, and those orders have restaurants that they're tied to. So really try to keep it super clean and simple on what's needed. And then for our users, I want to make sure that the user actually had a good experience. I want an easy login, as mentioned earlier. I wanted them to be able to follow and unfollow their users. You can see in the larger screenshot that, John Smith is requested to be my friend, and I'm sending an outgoing request to Sarah, and you can see people's orders when you click on it. So it just allows for very social aspect to see people's stuff. And if you go on demo, you can see for yourself and click around at different people's orders. There's a demo account that you can log into that has pre-made orders ready for you. And I also need to be very understandable. I didn't want it too complicated. This is a simple, clean app. It should be very obvious what happened. You click on it, it does something. Then for the UI, as I mentioned, it was React Native. So it all had to be, I played with React. So this was my first React Native project, but I thought it went pretty smooth. Also, as web prioritized, React Native really wants to be an iOS app or an Android app. For my requirements, I had to sort of encourage it to be a web app, as that is really what how I wanted to distribute my app. Which was a few issues with the icons, but those were resolved pretty simply. And then again, I want the UI to be nice, clean, and simple. Well, thank you so much. You can just use the link there. You can take a photo and copy it if you don't want to type it all out. So thanks for watching, and let me know if there's any features you want or any feedback you guys have. Thank you.